Upon the originally appointed governor of New York, Kathy Hochul, signing into law a new package of unconstitutional legislation, Moms Demand Action was eager to spread propaganda for the purpose of influencing the uninformed. New York Democrat representative and radical anti-gunner Jerry Nadler, along with the far-left gun-grabbing lobbyist Gabby Giffords, also known as Gun Grabby Giffords, attended the unconstitutional New York gun law signing ritual. In typical Democrat fashion, and not letting an opportunity for rhetoric to go to waste, Hochul pushed the false gun violence narrative and said, "Gun violence is a national crisis. We desperately need federal action on this issue, and that's why I'm calling for a new national assault weapons ban, because the last one never should have expired, and background checks should be universal." Well, the list of Second Amendment violations in the new package of gun bills includes mandates for credit card companies to track sales at licensed gun dealers and create a special merchant category code for use by firearm dealers. Warnings at gun stores which imply that guns are the cause of violence and the dangers posed by access to weapons in the home. A requirement of firearm manufacturers to ensure their handguns cannot be made full auto by using aftermarket conversion devices and switches. Expand reporting of those subject to red flag gun seizure orders into a statewide registry while making it easier for law enforcement to seek such orders. And a requirement for agencies issuing firearm licenses in the state to provide gun lock information along with the license. Have they actually ever read the Second Amendment? As restrictions like these continue to pile on in states like New York, where the Bill of Rights is ignored, the risk for citizens of those states increases along with the national crime numbers. But as these gun restrictions continue to leave victims defenseless in the face of ever-rising crime rates, the propaganda coming from Moms Demand Action and even the DOJ must get more strident to continue justifying their calls for gun control. The FBI recently updated their reporting after they were caught giving misleading information about crime levels in America, but left-wing media conveniently ignored reporting on the updated information, which revealed crime under the Biden-Harris administration had gone up. Instead, they pushed the original false information from the FBI stating crime had gone down. Now, the discrepancy was found in the lack of arrests that had been made. In other words, a large portion of the criminals in America were simply not being arrested, making it appear that because there was a lower number of arrests, that it equated to a lower amount of crime. In 2022, 31% of police departments nationwide, including in Los Angeles and New York, didn't report crime data to the FBI. Now this, while Moms Demand Action continues to pile on the rhetoric that restrictive gun laws are saving lives. The truth is, the unconstitutional behavior of our elected employees takes away the ability of good people to defend themselves and gives all the leverage to the bad guys. The anti-gun propaganda clearly supports this type of activity, and a good portion of the easily misled Moms Demand followers actually believe that they're supporting a good cause, when in fact, all they're doing is making themselves, their families, and their fellow citizens vulnerable while handing their freedom over to those who should never be trusted. Members of Moms Demand Action applauded the New York gun restrictions while pushing even more of the misleading fear-based propaganda, or maybe revealing their own misguided thought process. John Feinblatt, president of Everytown for Gun Safety, said, "For too long, the gun industry has been getting away with murder." Really, John? Are you sure it's not your dangerous propaganda that's encouraging unarmed helplessness? Could that be what's getting people killed? Alexis Jeventar, a volunteer with the New York chapter of Moms Demand Action, said, "Our lawmakers know that every life taken by a gun violence is preventable, and that we can't rest so long as any of our communities continue to grieve these tragedies." You're right about one thing. Loss of life is preventable, But disarming the good guys is clearly not the way to do it. And Reem Khalifa, a Students Demand Action National Organizing Board member from New York, said, "America is stuck in a deadly cycle, a cycle that's now become the leading cause of death for my generation, gun violence." Well, Reem, we are caught in a cycle of death, but it's not guns that are causing it. It's your perversion of the narrative that convinces people to be ignorant and believe that if they disarm themselves and their fellow Americans, that somehow they're going to be safer. You see, if the gun grabbers can't capitalize on death and stand on the graves of dead children, they can't push their irrational argument for gun control. Groups like Moms Demand, Everytown, and Giffords, along with anti-gun governors like Kathy Hochul, need the death of others to push unconstitutional gun laws on their fellow citizens in an attempt to disarm their political opposition. How does it look for them when the good guys shoot back? Well, it happens millions of times every year in America, but you don't hear about it because that certainly doesn't make gun control look good. Will they ever recognize the dangers of these restrictive gun laws? Will they ever recognize that taking away the ability of people to defend themselves puts them at risk? And will they ever own their participation in the death of innocent Americans by creating the most dangerous places on earth, gun-free zones? My guess is that they won't, but they will continue to perpetuate violence, hand leverage over to the criminals, and push gun laws that make their fellow citizens unarmed and helpless as long as it serves them politically. Thanks for watching Bullet Points. I'm Dan Wass for Gun Owners Foundation. For more Second Amendment content and updates, go to gunowners.com.